Hello, my name's John. This is a Warhammer Goblin Wolf Chariot, and you're watching Wargames Models and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome to another build video. Today I'm going to be building the old Warhammer Goblin Wolf Chariot. With the recent announcement of orcs for Warhammer Old World, I thought it was quite apt to put this one together. This is again one of the models that I've had for many years and never got around to making. So in this video we're going to be doing an uncut make of this so you can see the whole process. I'm not sure if this one's going to get a re-release with Old World, but we'll see. For now, let's open it up and see what I've got in the box. So I do know with this one I don't actually have a base for it, so that's something I'll be looking to get once it's all built. I also don't know if I've got all of the pieces for this, so we'll have a look and put it together. So we've got two wolves and I have some cartwheels, a selection of parts for the cart itself, the wagon, and then 3 goblins and a base that's not really any use. So let's have a look at the parts that I've got. So those are the bits that hang off the back of the wagon. We've got the yoke, 2 blades that stick out the front of it, top of the totem, sides, and then that is the bit that goes over the wolves. So first thing I'm going to do, let's put the wolves together as they're plastic, and you can see I've got all the parts here. So let's clip these off and put it together. Now I have noticed in this specific kit, the wolves I've got are identical. There were 2 different wolves that you could get, so 2 different heads, 2 different bodies, which meant you could make a little bit of variety up when putting them together. I am hoping that we'll get the original Goblin Wolf Riders, because I really did like those. I never managed to pick any up when Warhammer was around. So with Old World, I'm hoping that those are going to get a release. As these are the same, I'm just going to clip all the bits off. The date on the sprue is 1992, so we're working on a 30-year-old, well, it's 30-year-old wolf models. The actual Goblin Chariot was, I think, 2006. Still old model, but it is a classic. So I'm hoping this is going to go together a little bit better than the Bretonnian Trebuchet that I did. I'll leave a link of that build in the description below. But as this has some plastic elements to it, I'm going with it being a little bit easier to put together, but we shall see. I haven't picked up any gel super glue. I've only got the really liquid super glue at the moment. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes together. I don't have any epoxy glue either, so I'm stuck with this super glue that I have. So what I will do, I'm not going to actually, once I've stuck the wolves together, I'm not going to stick them to the chariot until I've got a base for it. So even at the end of this, it's not going to be fully completed. I am waiting on my rule books to arrive, so I can see the new sizes of bases for certain units, as I do have quite a few units that will need rebasing for Old World. That's something that I'll go through on a video of rebasing old models. Oh, didn't hold that long enough. Okay. Putting the tail on first probably wasn't the best bet on this one, but we shall hold it in place for a little bit. I'd really like your opinions on the real-time build videos that I'm doing. Is it something that you like, being able to see how long it actually takes to make the model, or would you prefer it cut down into faster videos? So editing out all of the bits that go wrong and that kind of thing. I've been told people like to see the bits that go wrong, so you're in luck while I'm building them. Chances are I will do something wrong, which will be amusing to see for most people and me to watch back in the edit. At some point I'm sure I'm going to have to go and let the dogs out as well, but we shall see. They might stay asleep through the filming of this. So putting the head on first with this one. Yeah, I really do like these classic wolf models. It's something that I do remember from the 90s. They're not the most detailed, they're not the most amazing models, but I do like them. There is a big nostalgia kick with Old World coming back. So it is going to be interesting to see either people resurrecting old armies or people starting new ones because they never got a chance first time round. It'd be interesting to see how many people have started playing Games Workshop games since it finished. So there is going to need to be some filling and some green stuff on those wolves, so that is something I'll do in another video. But let's just tidy up these wagon wheels. And once I've tidied these up, if you can hear them, they're walking around a lot behind the scenes. I'm going to quickly let the dogs out. Right, okay, I'll have to close that door in a minute, keep warming. Okay, so there's no particular order for putting this together, but what I'll do is I'll start with the main frame, and then I think this is called a yoke. Correct me if I'm please correct me if I'm wrong on naming any of these parts, but I think that is the yoke. So once I've got those on, I'll then put the wheels in place. Then at least it can sit correctly and I can put the other details on. There is a little bit of cleanup to do with these, so let me just trim some of the metal away where it's not needed. Something I often forget when making is cleaning up all of the parts of the model, but doesn't actually bother me. If there's a mould line here or there, it really doesn't affect my enjoyment of the piece. That comes off there. I'm just going to go and close the door. Okay, so let's start with this piece. So yeah, I don't have any gel super glue, I've only got the really liquidy stuff. So it's not really going to fill any gaps or anything. And also it means I have to hold it for a little bit longer. So just put the lid on the super glue as well. So what I will do while that's, I'm going to need to get some Blue Tack, I think, just to hold this down. So I always have Blue Tack nearby to help me hold things into position. Right, let's leave that there, and while that's drying, let's clean up the crew. So we have the Chariot driver. So let's just take off the metal sprue from its feet. And I love these classic goblins. They are my preference. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not mad on the newer, smaller goblins that we get in Age of Sigmar. My favourite all-time goblins, I've got some here actually, which I've got to rebase, are the Night Goblins. So I originally was going to have them for Age of Sigmar, and then they never got around to finishing this project. But now with Old World coming back, I can put them back on some square bases and use them, which I definitely will do. Okay. So at the moment, this does seem a lot easier than that trebuchet. Nice little bowman this. Bit of a mould line on its arm. So I was seeing that a lot of the old metal miniatures that are going to get re-released, some of them are going to be metal, others are going to be Forge World resin. So, ooh, that leg's a little bit bendy, don't want to break that. I like working with resin. It's something I do all of the time. The one thing that I do worry though is the prices are going to be quite high, as that's something Games Workshop often does with the resin pieces, which was Forge World. Now they're just called Pro models on the new Warhammer website. And some of the prices are outrageous. I do love Warhammer and Games Workshop, but it does piss me off when they put the prices ridiculously high for some things. So I'm going to glue this on now, the top of this banner pole, and also see if I've accidentally stuck my finger to this in a minute. We shall see. No, I didn't. Success. Okay. So I'm just going to lay the crew to one side up here. I'm just going to move these wolves so they're out the way. Put the Blue Tack to one side just in case I need it later. So here we have the cart, the wagon, the chariot, and the wheels are going to fit nicely on it like that. And then The yoke will go on there. So before I do that, let's stick the other items on. So we have, what's on these? We've got, okay, so different sides have different icons on. Don't think it's going to matter which way round I put these. Put one way and one the other way. And these are just glued into some little slots. Apologies if it goes out of focus at all while I'm filming. I haven't got a fixed focus on my camera, so it's just focusing on whatever's going on at that point. Now this is going to be one of those recurring won't glue in place, so let's get some blue tack just to hold that in place. I use blue tack for everything while I'm making models. I use it to stick things down to my painting stick for when I'm priming, holding things together when they're gluing, all sorts. Let's get a little bit more in there because that's not going to stay in there. That is... I don't miss working with metal miniatures, I really don't. Okay. Just push that to one side for a little bit to dry. Now where these stick to? So there must be, just like looking at which way round on the picture. So they just stick to the back of the Chariot. These blades stick on the front. So I'll stick those on once I've done the wheels. I'm going to leave the blue tack in place for now while I flood that hole with a bit of super glue. Then put that one on, and then I'll do the same on the other side. I really need to get some gel super glue rather than having the really thin stuff. So the dog wants to get on a chair, so let me just put it on the chair. She's an old little Cocker Spaniel and she likes to sit in her place on the sofa, so I don't mind lifting her up onto there. Okay. So that's going to sit... How far out? They go out quite far. They nearly hit the wheels. I do kind of want to lift that up slightly. Let's get this yoke on there. Just clean up any last few bits on this. But yeah, I'd like to know what everyone thinks about the real-time build videos. Probably already said it in this video, but I forget. It's something that I enjoy putting together, but would like to know what you guys think. Whether you do want things edited down, or you're happier just watching the whole process, or you might even stick it on in the background when you're building something. I don't really know. All of these videos are just part of my hobby, so it's just a little bit of fun on my part. Okay, they sit on quite nicely. So the key thing is making sure, I mean, as a design point, these blades, they're either going to hit the wheels or hit the wolves. I don't know if they're going to do what they're intended to do with cut people as they go by, but hey ho. So I'm just going to flood that with glue and hold that for a little bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Orcs and Goblins again. I really like the late 90s, early 2000s aesthetic of the Orcs and Goblins. I'm not... I do like the Age of Sigmar ones, but I haven't got into Age of Sigmar as much as I've got into other games. I do like the models and that kind of high fantasy aesthetic. Is it high fantasy? I think it's high fantasy. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I like to know these things. Okay, I'm going to carefully take this blue tack out. There we go. So, at the moment, if I just put the wolves in place, that's the chariot so far. And looking at all of the characters that sit in it, we have, okay, so this guy, the driver, sits on a little cushion there. Then we've got the banner waver and the archer. So let's sit the driver in place. I probably won't stick down the archer and the banner waver because I want to paint them, but I will, like separately and a bit easier, but I will stick down the driver. Let's just hold that in place for a little bit. But yeah, I've got quite a few Orcs and Goblins that I want to sort out for Old World, so I'm looking forward to the release of them. It's going to be interesting to see how they do the releases, whether they are all made to order or they just are around for a while or not. That's not going off, so let's get some blue tack. Let's balance this on some blue tack. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with the releases. And it'll also be interesting if I ever go around to get some gel super glue. There we go. Okay, that's okay. So I do have, I'm just having a look if it's to hand. I thought it was around here somewhere. That's unusual. Must have put it somewhere else. I've got an Orc Warboss conversion I started years ago that I'm going to look forward to having in this. I think it's in a box upstairs. But yeah, that's another video, that one. I've got to do some green stuff work on that. I thought it'd be quite nice to do that in a video. So all this is around here. Some more things to glue in place. Just make sure these are nice and flat. So preemptively I'm going to get some blue tack just here. Don't think it matters which way round I put these ones. I've already got super glue on my fingers and I don't know where that's come from. Well, obviously the model, but yeah, if you're new to metal miniatures, when Old World comes out and there are metal miniatures that you get, go for a gel super glue. The reason why I don't have any is because I haven't used it for so long. I've got the liquid one because I used it to fix a broken lamp base for a family member, and it's perfect because it doesn't leave any thick globules of super glue. But it gets annoying when this stuff doesn't go off. So yeah, this is going to be super glue and blue tack on the back. Okay, let's place. Okay, right, let's let that dry. So while that's drying, let's have a look at where it looks like the archer goes there, so quite tight inside there. And then the banner waver, for some reason, has a skull underfoot. Goes right behind him, looks like he's kicking him. But yeah, I'm going to do those separately, so I won't stick these in for now. I'll have them separate to then paint up and then put in when I paint them. What I'll probably do before painting them is I might drill and put a little pin in their feet to then put into the bottom of the chariot. Just want to make sure these are gluing in place. I don't think they are. The glue is not quite going off that quick. So, okay, so I'm going to let this dry now. It's not been too bad a build. It'll be interesting to see if they re-release this one, how they change it. But what we'll do, let's have a little look at the box, and then the only edit in this video, I'll remove this box and we'll see all of the bits put together. So here we have the chariot. Like I said, no base, so I've got to get a base for it. Also need to check what base size this is going to be on. I've blue tacked the archer and the banner waver into the chariot so you can see them in position. It's quite tightly packed. Sits nicely on the wolves. If I pick the chariot up itself, let's just put it close to the camera so you can see. So we have those 3 crew inside the chariot. The skulls and tails on the chains at the back do give quite a nice dynamic look to it racing through the battlefield. It's a nice little piece, this one. Not too complicated to put together, but yeah, good fun. So yeah, like I said, I've got to pick up a base for that. I've got to pick up a few bases. So I might do a video on rebasing old models for either scaling up the bases, that some of them have gone to larger bases, or from round bases to square, that kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this making video. I've got a few others in the pipeline at the moment, so hopefully I'll get those done soon. But for now, thanks for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.